gracias por estar con nosotros cada viernes, llevando las informaciones que por otro medio no llegan a la comunidad. En esta noche, 27 de agosto, ha habido una semana de muchas informaciones para que la comunidad que sigue el programa de Luis Jimenez Presenta pueda tener informaciones. Y como siempre, se encuentra la abogada Sally Atia, que está con nosotros, trayéndole informaciones de mucha importancia a cada uno de ustedes, especialmente dentro de lo que es inmigración. También tenemos una invitada especial, quien es abogada también, Andrea Savita Ogle, o Andrea Savita Ogle, quien estará siendo entrevistada por Sally durante la noche para que ustedes también tengan una información más clara. Ella está corriendo para juezas, así que estaremos hablando sobre eso. Y al final estaremos con Juan Carlos Valderrama, que ya ustedes conocen, y estaremos hablando de los problemas, de las situaciones que han pasado últimamente en Afganistán y la salida de lo que es tanto los americanos que viven allí como aquellos que han trabajado durante los últimos 20 años con Estados Unidos para que hacer el trabajo, bueno, que se fue a hacer allá, básicamente. Estaremos hablando sobre eso más detalladamente, pero en este momento quiero decirle a Sally que haga su presentación y que luego hace la introducción de Andrea Savita Ogle para que empezamos este segmento.
Muy buenas noches y gracias, Luis. Ojalá que toda la comunidad esté bien. Ahora yo voy a empezar con Andrea Ogle. Andrea, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, and thank you very much for having me here tonight. And buenas noches a la comunidad. Gracias, señora Sally, señor Julio, y señor Luis.
Thank you for accepting the invitation and for coming. Okay, Sally, your time.
So, Andrea, you're going to be on the ballot in November for Queens Civil Court Judge. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Okay, before you begin, I'm going to translate in Spanish. Sally le acaba de preguntar que a la abogada Andrea Savita Ogle, que ella está en la boleta donde está corriendo en noviembre para la posición de jueza. Okay, Savita.
I was born in Guyana in South America, and my family immigrated to the United States, and we settled in Queens County back in the early 70s. I have 4 brothers, and my parents were actually professionals in the medical profession, which is the reason why we came to the United States, because there was a shortage of medical personnel at that time in the United States, and they were recruiting medical personnel outside of the United States from the British colonies. And also, my parents wanted us to have a better life as children. And we are all successful in our own right. My 3 brothers are actually surgeons. My youngest brother is a retired captain for the Department of Corrections. I'm an attorney. My father was a pharmacist and chemist and an anesthesiologist and a dispenser. And my mother is a retired nurse midwife.
Wow.
Go ahead. No, you can do it.
Wait, translate or ask?
Translate a little bit what she's saying, that she was born in Guyana.
Okay, I could try.
Okay.
Andrea quiere decirnos que ella nació en Guyana, en Sudamérica, pero venir aquí con sus padres cuando ellos venir para trabajar en el trabajo médico. Y ella y sus hermanos también, tiene 4 hermanos. Sus padres quieren que ellos pasen una vida mejor aquí en los Estados Unidos. Y sus hermanos, tienes 3 hermanos médicos, surgeons,
Surgeon,
cirurgianos.
yeah, médico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
y uno que trabaja con el departamento de corrección en los cárceles, él es retirado de allá. Entonces, ella viene de una familia muy bien educada y le importa saber el sabiduría, ¿no?
Claro, claro. Es la importancia que tiene como para la posición que está aspirando es el hecho de la experiencia de haber llegado acá en aquellos años, la familia tratando de buscar mejores vidas para la familia. Entonces, mucha importancia. Go ahead.
So, Andrea, so that gives us a little bit about your family's background. What about your educational background? Tell us about that.
Well, I actually attended high school in Queens, and then from there, I went to Queens College, which is part of the City University where I go. And then I also attended Hofstra University for graduate school. And then from there, I attended Seton Hall Law School in New Jersey for law school, which is where I graduated from. And after graduation from law school, I took the bar exam and I was admitted into New Jersey and New York. I started my practice in New Jersey, and then I transitioned into New York after the practice that I was working for in New Jersey closed. And I wanted to come back to Queens. And part of the reason why I wanted to come back to Queens is because public service was very important to me, and I was sort of restricted in doing that while I was working for a private firm in New Jersey. And once I came back into Queens, I wasn't really sure which area of law I wanted to practice in initially, and I had a friend who did family court practice, and she invited me to come to family court to get a sense of what the practitioners did. That I was actually working for the Transit Authority, and when I came to family court, I felt a connection to the people in family court. Being an immigrant myself, I saw people who looked like me, and I recognized that there was a need for services, and I also recognized that there was a need for education. So at that point, I started to volunteer
Let
my
me
time.
stop you there because I think this might be a lot for Luis to translate this time.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Bueno, lo que ella dijo es que estudió aquí en Queens. Basically, I'm gonna do a small version of all the things that she say. Okay, so I understand that she went to the. Entiendo que fue al Queens College y también tuvo estudios en New Jersey también. All right.
Y, y decidí qué va a hacer aquí en Nueva York y empezó en el trabajo en el corte familiar en Queens.
Okay.
Okay, so you got into family court.
At
And
that point, I decided to start my own practice after working for private firms and also for the Transit Authority. And the reason why I wanted to start my own practice is because I felt a very strong connection to the people in the Queens community. Because when I came to the United States, Queens was not as diverse as it is now. And I saw the transition evolve over the years. And I saw the necessity for people like myself to work with the community almost on a full-time basis to assist them, to help them to navigate the system. So what I used to do is spend a lot of my time after hours and on the weekends trying to work predominantly with the immigrant population, because that was a particular group of people that I felt that needed services more so than anyone else.
Salí.
okay. Um, entonces ella dice que ella trabaja en decidir que abre su propio negocio de estar abogada en el corte familiar, pero en su tiempo, cuando ella empezó a trabajar, Queens no estaba bien diversificada como es ahora, y ella entiende en este tiempo que la gente, los emigrantes necesitan más ayuda. Entonces, después del trabajo, ella empezó a hacer trabajo de servicio comunitario por la comunidad. So, Andrea, what kind of community service have you done?
Over the years, I've done a variety of different community services. I've actually worked directly with the youth, predominantly who were at risk and who were sports. I've also worked with the youth on literacy as well. For many, many years, I volunteered my service in the libraries on Saturday mornings. And I also worked in conjunction with an educator, Dr. Dan Paul Narine, who did a literacy program for the youth in Richmond Hill. I've also worked directly hand in hand with the legislators who have approached me to prepare educational programs for the community. And I've prepared programs in conjunction with Councilmember Idenique Miller and other legislators on issues related to things like domestic violence. I've also done things related to the 13th Amendment, which affects um, the rights of people who are incarcerated or who are facing criminal charges when they come before the courts. I've also prepared seminars during COVID as well, especially. I was asked to do several things, and I've done programs for the elderly on estates and wills, primarily because there were several people who passed away as a result of COVID, and the families did not have wills for these individuals, so they needed to know how to navigate the system. I've also done seminars on things like forbearance for the mortgage forbearance that was passed during COVID and the consequences of the forbearance of a mortgage. I've done issues related to identity theft as it pertains specifically to seniors. Sometimes I also work in conjunction with other attorneys to put these programs together if I don't have a particular
Andrea,
expertise.
I've got to stop you. You've done too much. Hold on, slow down. Um, Luis, you want to do this one?
Okay. Basically, the way I do, it will be very, very short what I said. Okay. Ha participado bastante en la comunidad en organizaciones que incluyen New York City Council. Ha estado trabajando con los senadores y últimamente ha tenido uh, ¿cómo se llama? Le han dado una proclama. You did receive what was that called? From
Proclamation.
proclamation lately.
I've actually, yes,
Okay,
I was
but I
recently,
want to ask you the district, or basically how for the people who are planning to vote in November, your name will be in. How big will be the district that the name for you as a candidate will be? So people know exactly, you know,
it will be as big as the entire borough of
that.
Queens. I was actually selected by the Democratic Party to be their candidate county-wide. So my name is going to be on every ballot within the county of Queens on the flip side of the voting form for elections, because a lot of times people don't realize that the judges are on the back page.
So you're gonna be in every voting site in the county of Queens. So your
Yes.
name will be there, running as a judge. Do you have anybody against you that will be running in November, or?
I believe that there is a Republican candidate and there's an independent candidate as well. But I am the candidate who was selected by the county to be civil court judge. And the reason why I was selected is because of merit primarily and the extensive work that I've done serving the community of Queens for so many years. It's been recognized from the mayor's office to the city council to Washington in the US House of Representatives. I am very, very passionate about working with and helping the people in Queens. And those are the people that I've served for more than 20 years.
Ok, yo le hice la pregunta de que en qué distrito va a estar y ella dice en todo lo que es el condado de Queens. Posiblemente haya uno o una persona del Partido Republicano corriendo contra ella, pero ella es la candidata del partido, en este caso del Partido Demócrata. Ha sido declarada candidata por el partido y va a estar en todos los lugares donde haya votaciones. Así que todo el que vaya a votar, recuerde que en la columna de jueces y de la Corte Civil de Queens encontrarán el nombre de Andrea S. Ogle o Savita, no sé si lo ponen completo el nombre, pero ahí va a estar y nosotros queremos siempre decirle a la comunidad, no queremos jueces y especialmente personas que trabajan mucho con la comunidad, que deben ser consideradas y darle ese voto de confianza. Sally, algo más.
So, to wrap it up real quick, at least for today, Andrea, what do you want to tell the people? Why should they vote for you?
I think the primary reason would be my passion about my commitment to public service. I believe that a judge is a public servant to the people, and the work that they do changes and affects the lives of many people involved, and sometimes even an entire community. And I've put in the hard work in the sense that I've made a commitment to public service for more than 20 years, serving the people of Queens, pro bono and otherwise. And the knowledge and the experience that I've gained over the years has actually prepared me to become a judge. I've been in court on a daily basis, and I know what it's like to be before the courts and what the judges are also responsible for doing. And I've learned from my own experience and from watching other jurists what it takes in terms of temperament to treat someone with respect when they come before the courts, to learn the law, and to give everyone who comes before the court the opportunity to be heard with fairness and dignity. It's very important to be very respectful to everyone who comes before the court. And working with the community has taught me how to do that. Being an immigrant myself, I know what it feels like when you don't quite fit in. And over the years, I believe the knowledge and skills I've developed have helped me to do that.
Okay, Sally, you want to do a...
I could give it a shot. Sure.
Okay.
Yo pregunto a Andrea por qué ella quiere su voto. Y ella dice porque ella tiene la experiencia. Ella estaba en el corte diario por casi 20 años. Ella trabaja mucho con la comunidad y ella le importa que la gente siente que ellos, los jueces, tratan con dignidad, ¿cómo se dice?
Dignidad.
Dignidad y en una manera justa, darle la oportunidad de decir que ellos quieren y darle la oportunidad que escucharlos antes de decidir el ley cómo supuesta estar.
Okay. What we're going to do now is, because Julio began to send me signal from the seat that he is, and thanks Andrea for coming to the show. I hope this is not the only time, and between here and November 3rd, the date of the election. So we want to see you again to bring to the community. I know that from today they will begin to ask who you are, even though we had to try to explain the best that we can. And if you have a phone number, I don't know if Julio put it on the screen so that they can call your, whatever situation will be. Yeah, but
Do you have a Facebook site or a website set up yet so people can
can
reach
go
you?
and look at it. Yeah, and
We are
she can.
actually working on that, and it'll be ready by the end of the month.
Yeah.
They're in the process of finalizing it at this point.
So let us know, and give it to us. And for now, what I will say to the people, whoever has a question, she sent me a lot of information here that I have, so I can use that to to
Okay.
answer any question that they have. Okay.
Thank you.
So
And the thing I wanted to say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
thank you, Andrea. Thank you.
Very
So we're gonna
important.
go to a bumper again, and we will be back in a few minutes with
Thank
Sally and the immigration case.